lucky song.
Batman! How'd you get here?
Your angel of death awaits.
Who are you? What do you want?
I want you, Chucky boy.
Costume's a bit theatrical, but hey, who am I to talk?
You think you know everything about me, don't you?
I dive at your bottom. I bloody well ought to. Sir?
You still following your dad's orders?
The way I see it, the only one in this room controlled by his parents is you.
That's not the answer I want.
You're crazy! I'm your only chance to get out of here! Let me go or we'll both die!
Whatever it takes!
Guess it's time to call it a night.
Good evening. Welcome to this week's edition of the WayBack Movies Podcast, a show where we review the best and not so best of 80s and 90s cinema, because really, fuck the 2000s. My name is Steve, and with me on this crazy journey,
Justin.
Doctor. And we're back. As we promised, we are going into the realm of the Batman. A subject I'm very excited for, because if you remember our episodes on A Nightmare on Elm Street, I mentioned that there are two things that I am completely obsessed with and know more than anything else I should, and the other one is, of course, the Batman. I'm a lifelong comic book fan. I work in a comic book store. I have the Joker tattooed to me.
The notes will reflect this.
Yes, they will. However, it's funny because we were talking about it because I've already done the notes for next week for 89 Batman. They might be longer than the Nightmare on Elm Street notes, just simply because there's just more information out there.
Yeah.
There's, like, that movie was so heavily documented that even, and I edited, I'm not kidding, like, I went through it, and I'm like, okay, this is a bit much, and I took out other stuff, and I'm like, it's still going to be long. And this one isn't much exception, because here's the thing I wanted to add to it, and I'm just going to, I know we're just going to sort of jump in, and I'm just going to talk about this, but one of the things I want to do, because of the fact that each of the films has a different grouping of villains, I wanted to give a little bit of a history of the creation of the character, too. Because when the fuck am I ever going to get a chance to do this? You know what I mean? Because we don't do a comic book podcast, and we never will. So I wanted to get a little bit of this cool information out there, so I'm going to throw some of that in there.
Right.
So it's not long. It's like, well, okay, the first one's a bit long because it's about the Batman himself. No.
You're just like bearing through it like,
No, I think
I can't tell if this is going to take 5 hours or not.
Yeah. No, my, no. Okay, we're good.
We're good.
My notes were a little weird.
3 hours.
My notes were a little weird. But yeah, no, I'm gonna try, because, like, basically, unfortunately, with this one, the only reason, because we were looking in my notes for this one as long, is because I gave a history of the Batman, I gave a history of the animated series, and then I gave a history of the movie we're watching
Probably try my
today.
best to upshut myself.
Yeah, I will, and I will speak a lot quicker than I normally can, so hopefully we can get through this without any real issues. However, let me just say for next week, sit back and relax, because it's going to take a minute. But
For now.
that being said, in the interest of not making this take any fucking longer than it has to, let's jump back to Christmas Day, December 25th of 1993, for Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Okay, so here we are. It's Christmas Day of 93.
I think it's our first Christmas Day release.
I believe it is. They surprisingly put out a lot of movies on Christmas Day.
Well, it's notoriously one of the most popular days to go to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think Disney's been putting out Star Wars for
Yeah.
the last couple Christmas
I mean,
or
it
if
makes
not
sense.
Christmas Day, then the Christmas season?
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, it's a popular time. Kids are off. You know,
Mm-hmm.
those that don't celebrate Christmas go out to the movies
Yeah.
because that's all that's open.
If you don't have any family, your family can be the movies.
It's a little sad.
Dude, I go to movies by myself all the time. But that's just because I work weird hours and no one's around the same time I am.
And because you like to brood.
Yes, well, I like Batman a lot. I want to be the Batman without all that, saving people thing.
Yeah, that gets in the way of brooding.
Yeah, I'm also really not a ninja or a detective
of any
or
kind.
a chemist or, good at anything. So
You just brood. You just got to stand on top of buildings.
I got the brooding. I can
look
cool.
over the city.
I can look cool. Kevin Smith used to do that. He used to
look over the city?
He used to dress in a fucking trench coat and stand on the roof of, I think it was the Quick Stop, and just stand there like he was the fucking Batman.
I get it. I do the same thing, but,
Why do you think I wear a trench coat, dude?
There you go.
I mean, I want to be the Batman. Well, we've learned far too much about me. Let's learn about Batman Mask of the Phantasm, shall we? Directors, Eric Radomski and Bruce W. Timm. Screenplay by Alan Burnett, Paul Dini, Martin Pascoe, Michael Reeves. Story by Alan Burnett. Based on Batman by Bob Kane and Bill Finger. Fuck you. I'll get into that in a minute. Producer Benjamin Melniker and Michael Uslin. Production company Warner Brothers Animation. Distributed by Warner Brothers Family Entertainment. A box office of $5.8 million against a budget of $6 million.
It's a cult hit.
We'll get into... Yeah, we still can't get out of fucking cult. Next week we're out. But this movie ended up being very profitable, so don't worry about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It did fine. So, the cast. Kevin Conroy is Bruce Wayne, Batman. Dana Delaney is Andrea Beaumont. Hart Bochner. If you remember who that is. Yeah. I can't remember his name now. His name fucking dropped out of my... Ellis from Die Hard. Is City Councilman Arthur Reed.
Yes, he is.
Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. is Alfred Pennyworth. Mark Hamill is the Joker. Abe Vigoda as Salvatore the Weezer Valestra. Stacy Keach as Carl Beaumont. And the voice of Phantasm. Robert Costanzo as Detective Harvey Bullock. Dick Miller as Charles Chucky Saul. John P. Ryan as Buzz Bronski. And Bob Hastings as Commissioner James Gordon. So
it's quite a cast.
It really is.
The top half of that.
Yeah.
Like, you get Stacy Keach and Abe Vigoda.
Mm-hmm. Stacy Keach is one of those character actors who will show up in anything. So, but he had a great voice because again, he played two characters. He was the voice of the Phantasm. Because they're not going to use, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1. I don't know why you're listening to this without it, but whatever. They're not going to use Dana Delaney because no matter how deep you make her voice, it's still going to sound feminine. So. Stacy Keach was the good choice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it really will end up sounding a little cartoonish, pun intended. So, yeah. But before we get into the film, let's talk about the creation of the greatest comic book character in the world, the Batman. In early 1939, the success of Superman in Action Comics prompted editors at National Comics Publications, future DC Comics, to request more superheroes for its titles. In response, Bob Kane created the Batman. Collaborator Bill Finger recalled that Kane had an idea for a character called Batman, and he'd like me to see the drawings. I went over to Kane's, and he had drawn a character who looked very much like Superman, with kind of reddish tights, I believe, with boots, no gloves, no gauntlets, with a small domino mask swinging on a rope. He had 2 stiff wings that were sticking out that looked like bat wings, and under it was a sign that read, "The Batman." The bat-wing-like cape was suggested by Bob Kane, inspired as a childhood by Leonardo da Vinci's sketch of an ornithopter flying device. Which is why I always say Bill Finger, because that was the Batman that Bob Kane came up with. I think I explained that. Otherwise, if I don't, I will explain that very quickly, why I'm angry about that.
Yeah.
Finger suggested giving the character a cowl instead of a simple domino mask, a cape instead of wings and gloves. He also recommended removing red sections from the original costume. Finger said he devised the name Bruce Wayne for the character's secret identity. Bruce Wayne's first name came from Robert Bruce, the Scottish patriot. Wayne, being a playboy, was a man of gentry. I searched for a name that would suggest colonialism. I tried Adams Hancock, then I thought of Mad Anthony Wayne. He later said his suggestions were influenced by Lee Falk's popular The Phantom, a syndicated newspaper comic strip character in which Kane was also very familiar.
Fuck yeah, we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
That's my guy right there.
Yeah, I do enjoy The Phantom. We'll get to the movie. The Batman first debuted in Detective Comics 27, March of 1939. The character proved to be so popular, overtaking Superman, that the company, National Comics, and then National Allied Publications, changed its name to DC, which stands for Detective Comics, which it remains today. So calling it DC Comics is stupid, because it literally stands for Detective Comics Comics. So DC is.
They do that a lot for things.
They do. DC does still tend to just call themselves DC. The comics is just how people refer to it.
Yeah.
However, the character was on the verge of cancellation before William Dozer optioned the character for a television series in 1966, which ran for 3 seasons on CBS, starring Adam West and Burt Ward. We started a podcast about that. You can go find that on our website. And if enough of you like it, contact us. We have an email.
Which we haven't given out.
Which we've never given out. We also have an Instagram I think you set up.
We do.
You want to give that real quick?
Just WayBack Movies
Is
podcast.
it WayBack Movie?
Dude, it's literally just the pictures of the posters
Who
and
cares?
the link.
If anybody has questions, that's where you can send. Where
That's
you can put
true.
it. We will check it. And yeah, if you want us to continue that one, kind of wish you did because I kind of want to do it, but nobody listens, so who cares? But if you ever do, that's how you
When
get
did
it.
that ever stop us?
That's a good point.
When does that literally has ever stopped us over the past, whatever, it's been 5 years?
We'll
should
chat.
be doing.
We'll talk about it because we don't have to do
Yeah.
900 hours of wrestling anymore. So maybe we can get back to that.
Yeah.
We do have people asking me about that.
Do we?
Yeah, there are customers at the store I work in that have asked me for it.
We'll talk.
All right. In the late 1970s, when Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster began receiving created by credit on the Superman titles, along with William Moulton Marston being given the byline for creating Wonder Woman, Batman stories began saying created by Bob Kane, in addition to the current credits of that particular issue. Bob Kane made a deal with DC for the sole credit, and Bill Finger, being shy and somewhat insecure, didn't object, with Kane saying, "In those days, the artist would mostly take sole credit." No. Bill didn't ask for a byline, and I didn't offer one. I guess it was my ego at the time, and I felt badly, really, when Bill had died. Didn't feel that badly.
Fuck
did
you, Bob Kane.
I don't want to say that, but I kind of do. 'Cause
No, I do.
Bob Kane was a dick.
I'll say it. I'll put it on Front Street.
From everything I've heard, Bob Kane was a dick, and he actually kind of talked like Burgess Meredith's Penguin, which is kind of funny. He literally would have like a fucking cigarette, and he just.
Yeah.
Although if you talk to him normally in like interviews, he has a very
bad guy.
nice. He wore an ascot though, which is kind of fucked up.
That makes him. That automatically makes you a dick.
Well, I think he was trying to be Bruce Wayne.
Of course.
In September 2015, DC Entertainment revealed that Finger would be receiving credit for his role in Batman's creation on the 2016 superhero film Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and the second season of Gotham, after a deal was worked out between the Finger family and DC. Finger received credit as creator of Batman for the first time in a comic in October 2015 with Batman and Robin Eternal #3 and Batman Arkham Knight Genesis #3. The updated acknowledgement for the character appeared as Batman created by Bob Kane with Bill Finger.
Yeah, it was with. That's what I was about to
It
say.
still is,
Like, it's
and
with.
I don't fucking approve of that because I think that's bullshit.
You know, it's better than nothing.
It is, and that's why I'll accept it.
Better than
I
Bob
do
Kane,
hate-
and period. You
I
know?
do hate the fact that his first credits were Arkham Knight Genesis 3 and Batman Eternal 3 because I got to tell you, both of those sucked. Batman and Robin Eternal was a
what are they gonna-
weekly title. It was fucking boring.
Yeah.
And Arkham Knight Genesis, based on the video game, and that video game was not that great. Come at me.
Fight me.
Come at me. I like the other 3. I didn't care for Arkham Knight. I'll explain why if you come at me. You know where to. We just said how. After the fucking hell,
Jesus.
my throat just died. Well, I'm talking really quickly and I'm not getting a pause to drink. So entertain the people.
you slowly choke to death. Well, it's because you're trying to talk at like when they, in a podcast when they set ×2.
Yeah.
You're talking like that. Trying.
I have to.
So if they set that to ×2, you're going to sound like Elvin.
Dude, we still got 5 pages left.
No.
I have to do that.
Get the job.
Wait until we get to next week, man. I'm going to learn my speed reading better. All right. So, Batman the Animated Series. After the success of Tiny Toon Adventures, Warner Brothers Animation got a huge shot in the arm to produce more weekly afternoon content. The head of Warner Brothers Animation, Gene McCurdy, stopped the writers and artists in the department at an elevator one day and said, "We're looking at Looney Tunes, most notably Taz, the Griswolds from Vacation, and Batman as potential animated TV series. Let me know if you want to do any of these."
Jesus, those 3 have nothing to do with one another.
No. That was just, these are the
Yes,
properties.
pull these things out of
These
your
are the
ass.
properties.
So we got this,
Yeah.
we got this, and we got.
Well, it was literally,
this.
I think, everything that was popular at the time. Because Looney Tunes, after Tiny Toons, was clearly going to be popular, and it actually ended up being the TV series Tasmania. The Griswolds had just done, I want to say...
What year was it? 93?
91. It was just coming off of probably
Christmas.
2 years after Christmas Vacation, so...
And a few years before Vegas.
And a few years before Vegas, so... It was still a thing they wanted to do.
Papa Giorgio was a few years away.
Yeah. Literally. And they are, from what I hear, the pitch for that was going to be like, oh, they go and